Around this time last year, I finally dove into the Silent Hill series with the release of Silent Hill 2 Remake. I loved going through the game and finally fully experiencing the psychological horror masterpiece. At that point, I was fully into the series, and I was looking forward to whatever the series had planned. Around 5 months later, Silent Hill F was revealed, and I was super excited. A Silent Hill game taking place in Japan? That was such a good idea, and it was coming so soon after Silent Hill 2 Remake as well, and it quickly became one of my most anticipated games of the year. Before the game's release, I started to see some early reviews, and a good amount of them were pretty mixed, and that got me curious. Was this game not gonna be of the same quality as Silent Hill 2 Remake? After finally beating the game, can I say that the game lived up to the hype? Well, let's get into it. The story takes place during 1960s Japan. You play as Hinako, a girl that lives in an abusive household and at the stage of her life where she's starting to go into womanhood. She lives in a small town and has a group of friends that she hangs out with. Then, the fog takes over the town, completely obliterates one of the homies, so they have to make their escape. With the town being completely run over by horrific monsters, Hinako has to find a way to survive the literal hellhole that her town has become, while also trying to make out what the hell is really going on. Starting off with the positives of Silent Hill F, and the first one I have is just how well they handled the time period set piece of 1960s Japan. Like, this game looks incredible. Every area was so beautiful in the Japanese aesthetic. Exploring the town and even seeing it progressively get more fucked up, or when you're in the spirit world and you're exploring like Japanese shrines, like I loved it all. Like, they really went all out with the environments, enemies, visuals. This makes the game instantly stand out on its own. Gives the game its own identity compared to the other Silent Hill games. Even when the game gets like gory and violent, like it looks beautiful in some ways. Like, it's awesome. The next positive I have with the game is the character of Hinako herself. During my playthrough of the game, I enjoyed seeing her character like change throughout the game. This game really makes her go through some fucked up shit, and by the end of the game, like, you can tell that it's really getting to her and she changes. It's fucking amazing. I think they did a really good job with her character's like descent into madness, and the performance of her voice actor, it's very, very good. You can feel like the emotion in her voice. Like, it's so good. The last positive I have is the atmosphere and the tone of the game. Just like with Silent Hill 2 Remake, this game does a good job of making you feel kind of uneasy in certain areas. Some areas you kind of just feel unnerved. They did a really good job of making you feel vulnerable and like mentally fucking with you while playing the game. Onto the mixed elements of the game, and the main one I have is the gameplay itself. The game focuses a lot more on the combat, and in my opinion, it isn't the greatest. Hinako has to find weapons throughout the world to defend herself with. This could be things like a steel pipe or a fucking sledgehammer. Jesus Christ. Hinako can perform a light attack or a heavy attack, and every weapon has durability, so after a while, they will break unless you use items to repair it. There was also a sanity meter, which sounds a lot cooler than it actually is. Healing this, I thought the sanity meter would show you Hinako's like mental state. Like, the lower her sanity was, like, the more she would like panic, or like weird shit would happen that like isn't real or some shit like that. But no, that's not what it is. The sanity meter allows you to focus on an enemy to either do a focus attack that does more damage, or help you find hints that allows you to do counters on enemies. After running for too long, dodging, or doing too many attacks, Hinako will get tired and will have to wait till it recharges. Speaking of dodges, there is now a perfect dodge mechanic that when performed, you will get all your stamina back. Now, there are elements of the combat that I do like. Personally, I don't mind the durability system. Like, I think it gives the game tension and makes you pick your battles carefully. Other than that, everything else is just okay, in my opinion. I think the sanity meter should have served a different purpose, like I just explained. I'm not the biggest fan of the idea of there being like light attacks, heavy attacks, and even focus attacks. And being able to feel counters just feels out of place for me. In my opinion, it just doesn't fit Silent Hill. Like, Silent Hill 2 Remake did it better because like it was simple and it was believable with what James could do. Like, yes, he could attack, dodge, and shoot weapons, but he's not over here doing like heavy attacks, like perfect dodges and all that. No, like, it feels believable with what James could do. This feels too much like an action game in some ways. The stamina meter is fine, I guess, but I can see why they added it to balance out the combat, and it does make the game more intense at points. The combat feels a little too clunky for me as well. It's not something you can't can't get used to. Like, but there were moments where I got hurt due to like the clunky controls. Sometimes I would dodge and I would just dodge like way too far, or like wouldn't dodge enough. Like it's a little clunky, so you will have to get used to that. And the camera can be fucking horrible at points, I'm not gonna lie. The amount of times it got stuck on like Hinekro or something and I couldn't see what I was doing and I would end up getting hurt, it pissed me the fuck off. And it happened a lot, especially near endgame. And especially when the game likes to throw like 3 enemies at you or you're fighting in a tight space, it makes me want to die. By endgame, I was just running past most enemies because I'm gonna be honest, I was tired of just the combat. It's not the worst combat I've experienced in a video game, but I think it could have been tweaked or changed for the better. The next missed element for me is the story. I know some people are gonna be pissed at me for this, but let me explain. I actually liked a good amount of the game's story. I think some of the ideas that they're exploring are very interesting, and especially for like the time period the game is based on. Like, the game can get pretty dark and it's fucked up in places, and it can mentally fuck with you. But for me, I feel like the game's story is like kind of confused on what it's trying to explain. Mind you, I've only played through the game once, and I've heard that there's more story that gets added on New Game Plus, but I'm gonna be honest, I just didn't feel like playing it again due to the combat. But when I was finished with my playthrough, I didn't feel as satisfied with the story as I wanted it to be. I thought it was messy and rushed in some spots. Like, I won't get into spoilers, of course, but by the end, I was so conflicted on how it ended for me. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me. Maybe when I play through the other endings, my mindset would change on some things, but that's just my stance on it right now. The last mixed element I have with the game is that it's just not scary. Yes, I did say that the atmosphere can put you on edge at points, and it can be disturbing, but I was never like flat out scared while playing this. Silent Hill 2 Remake, there was moments where I was scared to play that shit. In this, it was nowhere near as scary at all. For some people, that might not be a big deal, but since this is a psychological horror game, I thought the game would be more scary. That's why it's a mixed element for me, because yeah, the game can put you on edge. The game is just not as scary. Onto the negatives of the game, and the main one I have is the puzzles. The puzzles in this game sucked ass. I had the puzzles on hard difficulty, which is very weird that that is even an option in this game. And most of them are just painful. They don't explain anything on how the puzzles work. They just give you some weird ass wording and just basically say, huh, good luck. The way a good puzzle is handled is that it gives you just enough hints where it isn't so obvious to solve, but also not just taking insane leaps of logic to solve them. Like, I was actively getting pissed off at all of these puzzles. One of them, near the end of the game, I flat out just said fuck it and I'm looking it up. And I hate that shit. Skill issue? Most likely. The last negative I have is kind of specific, so I will try my best to explain it without spoilers. But there's a segment in this game where Hinako goes into the spirit realm and she has to go through like these trials. Mind you, it starts off fucked up, but then quickly it ends up being some of the most goofy shit I've seen in a survival horror game. And this is coming from somebody who plays the Resident Evil games. Like, it ruins all the tension the game had up until that point. No joke, I was literally dying of laughter during that segment of the game. And like, it's weird because during that segment it would try to get disturbing again, but I just couldn't take it seriously. I'm gonna be honest, that part almost ruined what could have been a good segment of the game, and it sucks. Overall, Silent Hill F is a very conflicting game for me. On one hand, I love what the game goes for. I love the period piece, and the main character was very, very good. The game stands out in terms of visual style, and I like the ideas the game was going for, but on the other hand, the combat feels too clunky and just out of place for me. The story is a little too messy and a little rushed in my opinion. The game isn't as scary in my opinion as it is with Silent Hill 2 Remake. I know it's kind of unfair to compare this game to Silent Hill 2 Remake because Silent Hill 2 Remake is based on one of the greatest video games ever made, but when you compare that, it's just like, it pales in comparison for me. I appreciated all the new things the game tried to do, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of it in the end result. I can see why fans are divided on this. I wouldn't call this a bad game, but in my opinion, it is a slight disappointment for me. I would recommend this to anyone who likes survival horror or psychological horror, or if you're just a fan of the series, you're probably already playing it. The game is open to many different interpretations of what's going on, so like, maybe you'll pull something completely different than I did, and you'll appreciate it a lot more than I did, and if you do, that's great, and I'm happy for that. But for me personally, I'm going to give Silent Hill F a 7 out of 10. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. What do you guys think of Silent Hill F? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you mixed on it? Let me know down in the comments down below. I did stream my entire playthrough of Silent Hill F, so if you are interested in that, all the VODs are gonna be up on the channel. And I'm also gonna leave a link to my Silent Hill 2 remake review I did last year down in the description down below if you are interested in how I feel about that. If you're interested in me like streaming games, game reviews, or just anything game related, you're gonna want to subscribe, because that's pretty much all I do on the channel. But with that, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.